Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news.
Welcome back to another edition of Hometown Heroes on Family Life. I'm Mark Webster, and this week's guest is Theo Braddy from Lower Paxton Township, Pennsylvania, a longtime advocate for people with disabilities and newly appointed to the President's National Council on Disability. He begins by describing a paralyzing football accident at age 15.
My accident that left me a C4, C5 quadriplegic. People can relate that to Christopher Reeve, Superman, who had his accident. Everybody know what that looks like. My injury was pretty much the same as his. Spent some time in a nursing home, went into a place that was called the Elizabethtown Hospital for Crippled Children at the time. I spent some time there, and that's where I received my GED. After that, I went to Johnstown Rehab. They sent a lot of people with disabilities there to develop a trade. I wanted to go to college, but an OVR counselor told me I wasn't college material, and so I came back home. One day I saw my neighbor leaving early, and I was wondering just where she was going. She told me she was going to community college. And, and based on the fact that I knew I was just as smart as she was, I figured, okay, maybe I am college material. I was able to get into Harrisburg Community College. I was able to then transferred to Edinburgh University, got a BSW. From there, I was able to go straight to Temple University in North Philadelphia, and I received my MSW and graduated from there.
So tell me about how you came to be at the Center for Independent Living in Central PA.
That's a crazy story there. I graduated in 1988, and I got a job at the Mental Health Association as a public affairs director. My first job. I love that job. And one of the first things I learned from some of my mentors is that while you're doing your job, you should always volunteer. And so I volunteered on this group that was working to write a grant and create the first Center for Independent Living in Pennsylvania. So I joined them, and lo and behold, we received the grant to start it. And the president of that coalition asked me would I like to apply for the position. I didn't really want to do it because I had a good job. But the concept behind Centers for Independent Living really intrigued me. So I applied for it, and lo and behold, they hired me. We set out doing everything, writing policies, but I still knew nothing about what a Center for Independent Living is all about. So I started doing research, and I came across Ed Roberts, who is now known as the father of independent living. He became my mentor. We put on our first conference, and it was called Becoming Your Own Best Advocate.
You've seen and taken part in a lot of huge changes.
We did some amazing things as a Center for Independent Living in Central Pennsylvania. We got the city to buy buses with Lyft. We got city council to allocate hundreds of thousands of dollars for curb cuts in the city of Harrisburg. We created the Shared Ride program, which established a shared ride program for seniors and people with disabilities in 66 counties of Pennsylvania. And that program is still running today. That came from our advocacy. People with disabilities, we can't pick up a phone and call a cab like a person without a disability can. We can't call Uber. So we had to create a program that allowed us to function and work just like anyone else can.
So you headed up the Center for Independent Living for 30 years. You retired, but you didn't head off into the sunset by any means. You've been a consultant. And now tell me a bit about this new appointment. What sorts of things are you hoping to advocate for now that you have this national platform?
Transportation is still a big one. That Shared Ride program stops at 6. But as you know, life don't stop at 6. If you're going to provide a service to people without disabilities, that same exact service should also be provided to people with disabilities. If it isn't, then discrimination and oppression is occurring. I'm living it. I'm living in life of a person with disabilities, and I face the same barriers that many people with disabilities face, and I will bring that to the table. Housing is another one. Healthcare equity is another one. In my lifetime, we will remove most of the physical barriers. We have ramps, we have elevators, we have accessible parking spaces, and you can see that people with disabilities have made major progress with moving physical barriers. The problem is the attitudinal barriers. That is more difficult. That is a mindset that has been socialized and conditioned over a long period of time. And there's a lot of discrimination and oppression that goes on that nobody sees.
That's Theo Braddy from Lower Paxton Township, Pennsylvania, a longtime advocate for people with disabilities and newly appointed to the President's National Council on Disability. Please join us again next week as we search for your home, your town, your hero. It's Hometown Heroes on Family Life.